Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you all for joining us as always. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, Fish in the booth today. What's up, buddy? There you go. I know.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm ready for some fun today. No World Cup today.
Thank God.
We'll survive. Did you watch yesterday?
I did. Barely, but I did.
Were you disappointed?
No, France were better. But It was a fun game. Regardless, this is going to be a great show. We got Tim Twentyman joining us at 9 o'clock, top of the hour, to talk some Detroit Lions, their turnaround. Of course, how can we forget? The two best players we've seen at the University of Michigan over the last 15, 20 years have transferred. And that is program changing. If you don't know of the news, well, not only did Cade Cunningham, God damn it, Adham. Not only did Cade McNamara transfer to Iowa, but the greatest tight end and the greatest offensive player Michigan have had in the last 20, 30, 40 years, Eric All, transferred to Iowa. So, Michigan's hurting this morning.
It's tight end you.
Michigan is hurting this morning. Some of their best players have walked away. All the production that they gave. Oh, my goodness. What a time it is to be a Michigan fan. It must be hard.
I know, with the emergence of Loveland, I'm sure Michigan fans are so concerned. But, hey, good for him. They play together over at Iowa. Iowa's shown they can develop some tight ends.
I wish I was a Michigan fan, because I would just be posting my nuts on Twitter, telling them to suck it.
I hope they play.
Anybody gives a rip about them.
I hope they play in the Big Ten championship game next year.
5-7. That's what they'll be next year. They'll be watching the Big Ten championship at home just like they were this year.
5-7 might make it.
Moving on. All right, we got a great show. Obviously, Tim Twentyman coming up at 9 o'clock. 8:45, we'll get to the 8:45, we'll get to Eric All, Cade McNamara, the whole Iowa dynamic. 8:30, who has the advantage, the Lions defense or the Jets offense? And then vice versa, Lions offense, Jets defense.
Lions.
Robert Saleh was on SD4L last night, and that was pretty dope. So we'll recap his interview with Brian Mosallam and Justin Thind. But let's start the show with, let's see, let me count. The 37th iteration of Killian Hayes has finally found his game. Jeff, you know how I feel about this, but I need you to bring me in, because I think I may be wrong here. I keep telling you, hey, Jeff, what happens when? What happens when? If? Well, I think I'm discrediting the moment, no? Because the knock on Killian has always been he doesn't have game offensively.
Right.
But when he could find the shot, when he could find a mid-ranger, when he could find a three-point shot, when he could attack the basket, if he could develop his offensive game, I don't want to say he's a complete player, but he's damn near a guy that can do almost anything on the court. And you're seeing it now.
Mm-hmm.
Am I looking too far ahead with Killian by saying, well, Cade and Ivy, and when they develop, yada, yada, yada? Or should we really sit in the moment and say, he's playing some really good basketball right now?
Well, considering what the narrative was just a month ago, I think we need to appreciate how well he's playing. I mean, you look at Killian, he's played well, obviously, the last couple of weeks. But coming off back-to-back games with 5 points, struggling, 2 for 6, 2 for 8 against the Grizzlies and the Lakers. And he follows it up, boom, 25 points against the Charlotte Hornets. He had, 12 in the first quarter. You can praise him, especially how he's able to bounce back from those poor performances. I mean, you've seen Killian in the past play well for a game and then kind of go back to struggling. He struggled, then he bounced back, and now he played really well last night. I mean, he was the best player, in my opinion, besides Burks, on the floor. I mean, 5 threes, 25, 25, 8, and 7. I mean, let's be honest here. What was our expectations for Killian Hayes? It wasn't that. And to speak on the fit with Cade and Ivy, what gives me confidence it's going to be able to work out is 5 of 11 from 3. If you could shoot the 3-ball like that, not saying every night, but be more of a consistent 3-point shooter, he's going to be able to play with those guys and come off the bench. I mean, if he's putting up any offensive production off the bench, Pistons are going to need that. So, listen, Killian Hayes, I got a lot of love for how he's playing. I know the stats are going to be inflated, obviously, without Cade. The ball's in Killian Hayes' hands a lot more. But overall, man, I mean, you got to give some credit to Killian here because just a month ago, a little over a month ago, the narrative was, what's his future in Detroit? Now the narrative is, maybe he does have a future in Detroit. So it's a great opportunity for Killian Hayes. And I talked about this when the Cade injury got announced, what opportunities it's going to give other players. Killian was one of those guys. He's going to have the opportunity this year to kind of get free reins as the starting point guard, and I'm happy for him. He played a really good game last night, man. He did, and now the conversation is, are you concerned with another player who we thought going into the year would be your second leading scorer, at worst, maybe third? Saddiq Bey. Didn't even get 20 minutes last night, 5 points, and they look better without him. He's been struggling. I mean, he's had some games where he's played well, 20-plus points. That's been the storyline with Saddiq Bey, and that's my issue. I love Saddiq. Love his development here and where he was drafted. Great value. But the inconsistency, that was the narrative last year. I mean, I've talked with Sean about this. We've made tons of content about Saddiq Bey and love the player. I mean, you saw the upside last year getting 50 points. But you also have a lot of these nights where he's 2 for 8. You know, he's 1 for 5, 1 for 6 from 3. He struggled again last night. And I don't know if it's the fit, playing alongside Bojan, getting more veterans that are taking his minutes, or simply he's just struggling. It's confusing. And I will say this. For Saddiq Bey and his future, there's a lot of young players on this team. You're not going to be able to keep them all. And to me, I think Saddiq Bey, as much as I can, and you have the rest of the season, obviously, with Saddiq. I think Saddiq's going to be the player that other teams look at, and other teams are already calling up to Troy Weaver and asking about Saddiq. He's going to be the player other teams are intrigued about, and that might be your trade piece.
If I told you before the season started that Killian Hayes would be part of the future and Saddiq Bey wouldn't, what would you tell me?
Well, if you told me a month and a half ago, I'd be like, you're crazy.
For the season.
Yeah, I'd tell you you're crazy. But
and right now, Killian's playing his way into the future of this team. I'm sorry. He's playing very well. Better than I ever expected.
Right.
And, again, I am concerned of the dynamic when Cade does return, when Ivy finds his form, because let's be real about it. Last night, Alec Burks, I mean, come on, 8 of 12 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3. Only missed a single free throw, 7 of 8 from the line, 27 points. Hayes took 19 shots. Bogdanovich took 19. 12 by Burks.
And then you have Knox playing, and he's playing
Duran
well.
took almost as many shots as Ivy. So this is where I get frustrated. You can point to the individual and say, man, Killian Hayes. And you're 100% right. But I'm just confused on how this offense works. I don't understand it at all. And when I watch Ivy last night, he's on the court, he's getting minutes. But I don't want to say passive, but he's kind of just, when's my moment? When am I getting involved? Should I get involved here? Can I get involved in the fast break? Is that the only time I should get involved? Killian Hayes, he should have the ball. I don't understand the dynamic on offense, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the players are bad.
Right.
It just means they have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, there's no...
And this is always going to be my issue with Casey.
Yeah, and there's no... And I don't want to say there's no system in place, but it's hard, again, without your franchise player. It's almost like everybody's taking turns. And especially of a bench like this, I mean, you get 17 from Knox, 27 from Alec Burks off your bench. The bench has been a big reason why the Pistons have had success. In terms of success, I mean competing and not getting completely blown off the floor the last couple weeks. So the bench has been impressive. One player I want to highlight deserves a ton of praise, Adam, is Jalen Duren. I mean, and I love that Dwayne's been experimenting more and more with the Isaiah Stewart and Duren front court. But for Duren, I mean, you play almost 40 minutes, and he has 7 points, 19 rebounds, 6 of those offensively, and 3 blocks for a 19-year-old kid. This is the case everybody's been talking about all year. Should he start? When will he start?
It's coming.
I think he should start at this point. I mean, that's 19 rebounds. Are you kidding me? I mean, he missed a couple easy baskets. He could have easily had a double-double with almost 20 rebounds. It's like, and 3 blocks.
What was he, 2 for 8 from the field,
Yeah.
I think, last night?
Like, he's not going to be that inefficient every night. Like, this is, I mean, he's been everything as advertised. So for Jalen Duren, he's been an entertaining player to watch. I mean, he really is. You see the impact on the court he has, and that's why Dwayne Casey played him almost 40 minutes.
I have an important question for you, and I hope you don't get offended. But but I think questions like this from the people really matter. Philip in the chat says, "Hey Jeff, is your hair getting a little thin in the front?"
Yeah, working with you, I'm losing my hair. I think.
Blame it on me. Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, but yeah, I guess I have a receding hairline already. But
oh God, as long as it's not as bad as LeBron's, I think you'll
no,
be okay.
no,
Dude, imagine
my hair ain't going
your
nowhere.
Your hairline was an inch higher.
Oh my gosh.
Or backwards, however you want to call
Yeah,
it.
if it's getting pushed back, just get rid of it. I mean, I'm not going to be the guy who saves it. You try to, like LeBron, you have a big forehead, but you're trying to comb your hair. Just get rid of it, man. Those guys hold on to their hair for too long. Really.
Oh, man. All right, good start. Pistons, big overtime win against Charlotte. They played well. That was one of their better showings.
It was two teams, the two worst teams in the league that don't play defense. And there
that's
you
what
go.
you saw.
That's what
the
you see.
overhit. What a surprise.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, look, let's take a quick pause. When we get back, Robert Saleh joined SD4L last night here on the Woodward Sports Network to talk about Dan Campbell, what he's building alongside Brad Holmes, what he thinks of Sheila Ford, and really what he thinks of this Lions team ahead of their matchup on Sunday. That's going to be a great conversation to have. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, guys, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined all three of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try Cintron's great tasting cranberry classic and sugar-free all in one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. And of course, as always, it's your daily reminder that you can alter your life by making good decisions, and Custom Health was one of Ryan Ermani's best decisions.
You know what that looks like? That looks like you lost to Georgia last year. You kind of ate a lot of, your sadness
a lot of ice
away.
cream, a lot of, what is it, Ben & Jerry's?
Ben and
Jerry's.
And now Michigan looks good this year again.
And suddenly he slimmed down.
With the
Because
help
of Dr. Jason and
absolutely.
Team at Custom Health Centers. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, I have a question for all of you this morning. All right? So before we get into Robert Saleh, let's wait a minute. All right? So lead into this. I woke up this morning. I had a bug yesterday. I'm on Z-Pack right now. Trying to feel a little better. And I slept the majority of the day yesterday. I wasn't feeling all that great. Cool, whatever, right? We all get sick every once in a while, no problem. I wake up this morning, and wife is getting dressed for work, and I'm getting ready for work. I'm prepping for the show, yada, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And I wake up, and she tells me, honey, you look like a Sasquatch. Is that fucked up or what?
Well, that could be a compliment.
No, it is not a compliment.
What compliment have you heard, Fish, that has called you a Sasquatch?
I just think about it like it could be a compliment. You don't know.
I think I do know. I don't know if that one's hey.
I didn't
It
take
could
it
be
as a
considered as
compliment.
a compliment.
She's honest.
Because some people could think Sasquatches are cute. I don't know. That's not me. But there are people out
Do
there
I look
that...
like a Sasquatch fish? Honest answer.
not really. I mean, like...
If I was walking in the woods at 2 in the morning, would you mistaken me for a Sasquatch?
No.
No.
I would not.
What was that beef jerky commercial with the Sasquatch? And is it like you turn into a Sasquatch or something like that? I don't know. Give him beef jerky. I don't
Those
know.
are good
That'll
commercials.
solve it. Maybe she was just being honest with you.
I
You
hate
know?
you.
Just be like,
This was not the vote of confidence I was hoping to get from you.
you didn't give her anything back, right? You just kind of went, all right, you know what?
I walked out of the house. What do you mean? I came to work.
I mean, there's people that think tigers are cute and they want to keep them as a
Jack
pet.
Links. Thanks, Eric. Yes, Jack Links. That's
Jack Links. There you go.
All right.
Beef jerky. All right. Robert Saleh joined the ST4L show last night. Brian Mosallam, Justin Thin, and he had a lot to say about Dan Campbell, Sheila Ford, and this Detroit Lions team. And we'll play some of the video coming up in just a bit. But I was blown away, one, by his humbleness. That was really nice to see, and two, how complimentary he was of the team. And one of the key things I pulled away, Jeff, was he said they're building it the right way. Dan's alluded to that. Brad Holmes has alluded to it before. Even Sheila all those weeks ago alluded to it, that they're building it, quote, the right way. It's a term I keep hearing now. And what does that mean? I mean, we talked about it on the show. What are the four most important positions in the NFL? Quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, wide receiver. Those are the four most important right now. You've drafted the wide receiver, you've drafted the pass rusher, and you've drafted the tackle. So they're already doing that version of doing it the right way. They've nailed that so far. They still have to address the quarterback in maybe 2-3 years, especially with the way Goff is playing. So, yes, I do think the way the team is being constructed by Brad Holmes and his team is the right way.
Yep.
And for the first 7 games of the year, I did not think this team was being coached, quote, the right way. I didn't. But I think you'd be a fool not to acknowledge these last 6 games. They looked, not only they've looked, they have looked like a very well-coached team.
Yeah.
And there is no denying it. So when Robert Saleh joins the show last night, and they're having this conversation, like, you know what? Not that it's words of affirmation from an outside individual, but boy, it does matter. Growing up in Dearborn, he's a Michigan native. It was cool to see. So, Alex, if you're all set, 1 minute, cool. Jeff, I was thrilled with the interview first and foremost. Number one, that was a pretty cool moment for me. Number two, he was all about the way this team is built, the way they play, the way they're coached. I thought it was brilliant.
I can't wait to see. I'm curious what he said. Because at the same time, I mean, from an outsider perspective, you're not going to go on the show and be like,
"Oh no, of course not." But
what are they doing
is a
over there?
unique perspective. So here,
Absolutely.
we'll play what Robert had to say last night on ST4L.
We're a little offended that you took Brees over K9, and we want to know why. Now we know why. Brees is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But how could you move up in the draft and take Brees over our guy? Why'd you do that?
So K9, phenomenal football player, big fan. I'm pumped that he's doing a great job in Seattle. But for us and what we wanted and what fit us at that time, I'm not going to get into the details of what exactly was in the scouting reports and all that stuff. But both of them, it was like 1A, 1B. You couldn't go wrong. It was both phenomenal football players, but we just felt like Brees was our guy, and that's a selection we made. And I mean, the kid's unbelievable. They're both unbelievable. So it's worked out for both of them. It's unfortunate that Brees got hurt, but he's going to be good for a while.
Yeah, Coach probably figured if they're tied and one of the picks gets to make you mad, that's the tiebreaker. So.
Coach, is it weird playing against your hometown team that you rooted for this week? Is that weird to you?
No, not anymore. When I first got in the league, I think this is like the 5th time that I've gone against the Lions as an assistant coach, or now this is my first time as a head coach. But it's once I got into the NFL, the favorite, and I still kind of I still look up in the scoreboard. All right, Lions winning, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
You look at it, and you see your buddies that around the league, and like you take a peek. But as far as that attachment and the weirdness of it all, it's been gone a long time ago.
What kind of job is Dan doing in Detroit? Dan Campbell.
Dan, he's doing a phenomenal job. Got to hang out with those guys at the Senior Bowl. Deuce Staley, Dan, because Deuce was the head coach for the game. Thought they did such a great job, very organized. But you just watch on tape, Dan Campbell, their staff represents. I feel like we're looking in the mirror. Two teams that play their nails off, gritty. Love what they've done with their offense, their O-line, the receivers, all of them. They just they fight. They will fight, and so it's going to be a really cool game to watch. It's from teams that just play balls to the wall and have guys who have great character, and from a locker room standpoint, guys who strap up and lay it all on the football field. That's all you can ask for. And there's not, he's doing a phenomenal job, and what they're putting together is not fake. They're going to be good for a long time.
Man, that was awesome. Looking in the mirror and talking about, man, I see a lot of coaching qualities and qualities from his team that I see in my own.
And it makes sense why they interview both of them. I mean, both guys are leaders of men. Like that kind of, that's their persona, and you can see that with Robert Saleh. I mean, he obviously gave a ton of credit. I mean, he talked about he faced the Lions already a handful of times. It doesn't really change anything, but still, to give compliments like that, he said they're going to be good for a long time. This isn't fake. This is real. What they're doing.
And what did we talk about yesterday? Earlier that morning. Is it real? Is it fake? We did this Monday too. It's hard to sit there and say 1-6 didn't happen and that everything was okay when it was happening. But the last 6 weeks, look, you guys have all watched a lot of football in your lives, okay? You don't need me to tell you this. And I'm not talking just about the Lions' history now. We're going to go around the NFL. Teams that can control the game from minute 1 to minute 60 are typically contenders, are typically the teams that you look at before the season starts, Jeff, and you say, yep, that they're winning their division. Probably get into maybe a championship game, definitely the divisional round. Those are the teams we talk about.
Right.
And for 6 weeks now, they competed with Buffalo, and they almost dominated everybody else on that schedule, outside of the Bears, who, that was a close game. Yes, they won because of a missed extra point, but they made a lot of plays that game. They did. The Jeff Okudah pick, Aiden Hutchinson sack.
Julian Okwara.
Okwara got after Fields. There were so many plays that happened in that game. It wasn't just about the missed extra point. So the Lions earned that game. For 6 weeks now, you're seeing a team play some of the most complete, and not just complete, but complementary football. Dan Campbell alluded to this yesterday as well.
Right.
He said, really what's changed, he said this on the Pat McAfee show the other day, is now we're putting all three phases of the game together. And you guys can like me, not like what I say all the time, but that is exactly what I was telling you when they were 1-6. 1 week the defense plays well, but the offense takes a shit. 1 week the defense and the offense play well, but there's a special teams mishap.
Right.
One team, all three phases of the game are clicking, but then your coach makes a boneheaded decision or mismanages the clock. And then there's one day where the offense putting up 45 points, but you give up 48. That was the first 7 weeks of the season, and it's frustrating as hell. And now they're putting it all together, Jeff. And, you have a guy like Robert Saleh come on and really enforce, I think, what most of you are seeing. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, and like I said before, obviously, you're going on a show, especially locally. He's from the area. He's going to compliment the Lions, and I think he truly believes that. I mean, this is the national narrative with the Lions right now, is what they're doing real or fake, and a majority of it, it's all praise for the Lions, because you see the formula, you see the blueprint, and how they can be good. The defense playing as well they've been playing as of late, and the offense has been good all year. I mean, they're a top-tier offense. So Robert Saleh knows that. He's a defensive guy. He knows what they're dealing with offensively, but doesn't change the fact the Lions, their job is going to go to the New York Jets and absolutely beat them down. Now, we'll see if that happens, but yeah, Robert Saleh's been doing a hell of a job. I'm a big fan of his, man. I think he's a hell of a coach. And he has similar traits to Dan Campbell. That's why I think they're so comparable. I know Saleh was a former defensive coordinator. Dan's never been a coordinator. He's an assistant coach. But their leadership is very similar. I mean, how they control a room. I mean, those guys, I think culture-wise, they're very similar. with what they want, what they expect out of their teams, playing hard, never giving up. I mean, it's the whole cliche. They're both excellent at getting their guys to play hard for them. So 2 really good head coaches, and I'm excited for this week's matchup.
Well, let's start diving into the matchup, right? We're going to talk about who has the advantage coming up in a bit, but marquee player Quinnen Williams, that is still up in the air for Sunday. But this is a secondary that features DJ Reed, that features Sauce Gardner. And Sauce really only lines up on one side of the field, and that's really just his responsibility. And if you guys recall, Robert Saleh worked with the Legion of Boom. He also was the DC with the 49ers. And you saw a lot of this. We're not going to move our corners around. We feel we're strong at every phase, right? We're good on the left, we're good on the right. We're not going to move our guy around. We're going to play our defense, and you're going to have to figure it out.
Yep.
And it works, man. It really does, especially when you have the players that can execute it. So you have those 2 individuals. Quinnen Williams, we'll see, status up for the up in the air on Sunday. How do you use a guy like an Amon-Ra St. Brown? More Jamison Williams to be determined, but a DJ Chark. How is this offense in a cold weather environment going to excel the way it has the last 4 or 5 weeks in conditions they haven't been in a while?
Right.
And in conditions on the road where Jared Goff isn't the same quarterback? That would be my question to you, Jeff.
And I think, I could answer that with that it's a compliment to the Lions is they can beat you offensively in a lot of different ways. And it starts up front with those big fellas, that offensive line. They can run the football. They didn't do it well last week, but typically they can. I mean, they're a team. They had the streak with, consistent 100-yard games. They can run the football. Or, as you've seen lately, Jared Goff playing the way he's playing. We'll see what the weather conditions look like. But even on the road, I know people talk about Jared at home versus on the road. He's had good games on the road this year. So with Jared in this passing attack, the way he spreads the ball around, I think is going to cause the Jets problems. Now, we'll see. They have a top 6 defense, top 5 defense in the NFL right now, so they're going to be more prepared, and they have a great head coach. But on top of that, Adam, I just think with the way they move the ball, I mean, you get Amon-Ra, DJ Chark, Jameson, you got DeAndre Swift, you got now Justin Jackson making plays. And don't forget about the tight ends as well. They find a way to get those guys involved. So the ball moves around so much that I know Sauce, and he's probably going to be on either Jameson or probably Amon-Ra, depending on who they want to match up with. Ben Johnson's going to find a way to get those guys open, using a lot of motion, making those guys chase the receivers. I'm confident in this offense, but it's a huge test for them. I mean, you look at the comparisons too. I mean, you have a top 5, and we're talking about points per game, a top 5 offense with the Detroit Lions facing the 22nd ranked offense in the Jets. You go to the flip side, you have the 31st defense. I know it's a little, take the last 6 games, a little different, but overall 31st ranked defense against the 6th ranked defense. So it's strength on a weakness, strength on a weakness. It's going to be interesting.
Well, let's
to say
get
the
into
least.
it. Let's get into it. Who's got the advantage going into Sunday? It was really cool to see Robert Saleh on the network last night. That was a really cool moment. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, let me tell you about them. We talk about a consistent defense. Guardian Alarm can help you with that. If you call 1-800-STAY-OUT, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them, Fish. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations. It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
You see the sled behind me, and that's featured in our Stuff a Studio because it's year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio, and it's here. We're collecting new unwrapped toys and stuffing our studio so we can hardly fit in it. And you can join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we continue to stuff our studio. While you're out shopping, make sure you grab one extra toy and drop it off at our studio off 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We will be collecting all toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Gardner Alarm for keeping the toys safe.
I can't wait. Saturday, we're going to go shopping for all the kids.
It's going to be fun. The whole
Me,
crew.
you, Fish, Big D Energy, Armani Edwards, the heavyweights. We're all going to go out. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Family shopping day.
I can't wait. This is the best time of the year. 100%, hands down. Because so many people, like, just put aside whatever's going on and they get to enjoy the moment. They get to help another person. It's
Season of giving.
Hell yeah. Who's got the advantage, Jeff? We'll start with the Lions offense and the Jets defense. That is the marquee matchup. I do think the other side of the ball is irrelevant unless, the only caveat is if Joe Flacco throws 2-3 interceptions, and that will be game-changing. But this game is going to come down to, can the Jets defense slow down and shut down a Lions offense that's been extremely hot?
Yeah.
It's been on fire most of the year. They're the only team in the NFL with 7 games of scoring 30-plus points or more. So you want to know who has the advantage? It's got to be the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you saw Detroit go up against an average Buffalo defense at the time who had Von Miller go down, who were missing most of their secondary players, and they struggled for points in that game. And you saw the Jets just this past week play the same Bills team, and they somehow stayed in the game with no offense and all the turnovers in the world. This Jets defense is legit. I know they're 6th on the list, but in my opinion, they're the second best defense in the NFL visually, for me, outside of the San Francisco 49ers. For me, it's the Niners, then it's the Jets. And if you're the Lions, you're going to have to pull it all out because you're going to need every single yard.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need every single break. And you're going to need Jared Goff to protect the football. But I'm giving the advantage to the defense. As much as I love this offense, as much as I love Ben Johnson and what he's doing, you're on the road. Cold environment. Let's not forget that defensive front, with or without Quinnen Williams, will be a problem still. They've got the capable linebackers you need to stop the run. Oh, and they can leave their corners on an island, and they'll be just fine. They play zone well. They play man well. They can do it all.
Right.
For me, the advantage has to be for the Jets. They're at home. They've got the better defense. I think between the two, it's very close. But I've also seen this Lions offense put up 14 against Green Bay, 6 against Dallas, 0 against New England. What was it, 20 against Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
So, on the road, against better teams, does your offense travel? Now, you'd like to imagine this offensive line travels. I agree with that. I do think you'll have your way to an extent. Can Jamal Williams give you a rushing performance like he gave you against Seattle? That's what you're going to need. Or is it going to be DeAndre Swift leading the way? We're still not sure how that's going to work. You're going to have to run the ball and limit the opportunities the Jets have on offense. Not because their offense is good, but because you need as many opportunities on offense to get by this Jets defense as much as you can throughout the whole game. So for me, the advantage is the New York Jets defense.
Yeah, I would, and you kind of hinted on all the reasons already. I mean, you're going on the road. Of course, I'm going to give the edge to the defense. I mean, Jared Goff, you might have to whip out the silent count here, depending on how loud MetLife's going to be. But you look at this Jets offense, and I completely agree with you. I mean, this is the way the Jets win games. I mean, you go through their games. They lost last week to the Bills. They scored 12 points. The week prior to that, they lose to the Vikings. They scored 22. And then the week prior to that, it was Mike White's first start. They scored 31 against the Bears, and we know how bad the Bears are defensively. The week before that, they scored 3, and that was with Zach Wilson. So you don't really know with Mike White, and I'm assuming he's starting. Big fan of Mike White. I mean, he can sling it. But at the same time, this Jets offense hasn't proven to be this, unstoppable force or something that other teams should fear now, especially without Breece Hall. But the thing I look at is, what can this Lions defense do to this Jets offense? Because like you already talked about, defensively, this is a big test for the Lions. I mean, this offense has been on a tear lately. They've had consecutive games scoring 30 points. If the Jets can hold the Lions to, let's say, 24, 21 points, my question to you and to Jets fans is, how many points can the Jets score? Because they're going to have to score 20-plus, high 20s to win this game, or at least mid-20s. I don't see a scenario where the Lions walk out of MetLife after Sunday and they have 10 points, 14 points. I think minimum they're going to score 20, in my opinion, 17. So really the big question, I think the advantage, I would probably give it to the Jets defense simply because they're at home. We'll see if Quinnen Williams plays. If he plays, that changes a lot of things. But this Lions offense has been a problem for every team. I mean, they played pretty good defenses, and they still were able to put up points. Now, they were at home some of those games, but still, I do think this offense, Ben Johnson does a really good job of exploiting things in opposing defenses. He's going to find the weak link. He's going to find a way to exploit it. But the question I have is really for this Jets offense. I mean, how many points are they putting up with a banged up Mike White? That's really the question I have.
I believe Flacco is...
He's starting.
Flacco's starting.
Because I thought he's questionable. But I would assume if he's healthy enough, he's playing.
Last I checked, White's out. Flacco's a starter. Zach Wilson was moved up to number 2 as the backup. I could be wrong.
Regardless, and that makes my point even more. I mean, how many points are the Jets going to score? Especially on a defense that has been bad all year, but lately you're forcing turnovers.
Fair.
They're better against the run.
That's why I'm avoiding that conversation, because I don't think the Jets will hit you for 30. Hit you for 27, 24 even. But can you even get 14, 17 on this team? Can you?
I mean, I think
the Bills just got 20. The Bills. And again,
but we scored.
I know it's Ben Johnson. God, come on, Jeff. I mean, the love fest on the show for Ben Johnson has been alive and well for over a year now. But if we're honest, yes, I can game plan around Sauce Gardner, but I have to avoid that side of the field. And even if I line up Amon-Ra, let's say, in the slot, and I send him underneath, well, they have capable linebackers. I'm not saying they'll stop him every time, but they've got capable ones. And then there's still DJ Reed. And there's still good secondary play at safety. So it's not as simple as we're just going to avoid throwing to Sauce, because it's a bit ignorant. And you're falling into what they want you to do, because they're supporting everywhere else on the field except where he is. And if you truly want to test this defense, it's not about testing Sauce Gardner alone. It's about being honest. Meaning, if I'm going to line up DJ Chark, let's say on the left side, Sauce Gardner's on him. I'm going to send Chark on a 10 and in, a 15 and in, or hell, even a go route. Okay? I don't have to throw to him. But I have to run that route 150% and keep them honest. Because if I don't, and I just, all right, well, here we go. This is a play. I know going into this game, we're not throwing it to this side because this guy's here. That falls right into the Jets' defense.
Right.
So it's not just about working around Sauce Gardner. You have to work towards his side of the field, but in a smart way. Keep him active. Keep him honest. And if you can hit a go route or two, I doubt it, especially on that side, But that's what you're going to be looking for, especially with Chark. St. Brown, I think we all know what's going to happen. They're going to put him in the backfield. They're going to line him up in the slot. They're going to hide him behind the tight end. They're going to find ways to get St. Brown in the game. This is a St. Brown game written all over it. They're going to move him everywhere on the field. And then you'll see Chark probably go for 1 or 2 catches. You'll see Josh Reynolds get a little more active. Jameson, who knows how involved he'll be. But this has Amon-Ra written all over it. Why? Because of where they're going to position him. And he'll probably go 8, 9, 10 catches. But will they be effective yards? Will they be on third down? You avoiding Sauce Gardner plays right into the Jets defense. Mm-hmm. Because if I disregard Sauce Gardner and I just play my game, I am taking 15 to 20 yards in length, or excuse me, in width of the field away. I'm giving the Jets what they want. The Jets can overload any side they want now. Oh, you're not going to throw to Sauce? Thank you. Hey, guys, they're avoiding Sauce. Let's move one linebacker over to the right side. Let's move one secondary player. Let's make sure they can't hit us underneath on play action. Let's take away the middle of the field. They can do whatever they want. Hey, safety, we don't need you to protect Sauce. He's got the whole thing by himself. Come play up in the box. Stop the run. The luxury of having a Sauce Gardner, because Detroit doesn't have a really good defense right now, you haven't seen this yet. And that's why I'm saying the Jets have the advantage on Sunday, Jeff.
The big one for me, and this is a big stat, the Lions are currently still number 1 in the NFL in red zone efficiency. The Jets are 26th. That's going to be a big thing because the Jets can get in the red zone. But can they score touchdowns?
Last week, I believe, in the red zone.
Can they score touchdowns, right? And the Lions have proven all year they can be efficient in the red zone. So, again, Jets defense, uber talented. But once they get down to the red zone, the Lions have shown even on the road they can convert. They can get in the end zone. So that's going to be the big thing for me. And I think the advantage, I would probably agree with you slightly. I'd give it to the defense for the New York Jets. But at the same time,
it is
what
Mike
are they doing
White starting,
offensively?
by the way.
Yeah, and I assume that. Just even if he's banged up, he's going to be playing. But the big question for me, and it still goes to the same question, how many points are the Jets putting up? That's what I want to know. Because that'll be, and how many points can you hold the Lions to? That's going to be the big test because Lions have been efficient in the red zone. They've been efficient all year. Jared Goff's playing the best football of his career. He's on a good stretch. The offense looks good. They went to MetLife against the Giants. They scored 30. And I know it's a better defense than the Giants, but still, it's going to be a good test for him. Hopefully, we'll see if Quentin Williams plays. If he doesn't,
you guys
they're
are
going to be able to run the
very
football.
confident in the chat about this offense going into MetLife and putting up 30. I love it, but I doubt it. I just don't see it. I just don't. It's a very good defense.
Yeah, I don't think they'll put up 30, but I think they'll put up 20s.
It is not that simple.
I could see 24.
It is not that simple. You guys go back and watch the Jets play, all of you. Go home, spend 15 minutes. Watch how their defense plays. Watch how they get off the field on third down.
Yeah,
watch how they get pressure on the opposing quarterback.
In total defense, Adam, they're the third-ranked team in the NFL. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, they're a good defense. They're top 10 in a ton of categories. Points per game, total defense, passing defense, rushing defense, they're 13th, which I'm curious to see that matchup in the trenches. But still, nonetheless, yeah, their defense is uber talented, and they're at home. So it's going to be a good test. If the Lions can go out and beat the Jets, we talk about winning out. If they can beat the Jets on the road against that defense, you should have all the confidence in the world moving forward. Carolina, Chicago, Green Bay, nothing compares
the Jets
to
are giving
what
up
they're
16
facing right
points
now.
a game over their last 4 games.
Yeah, they make teams play their game. They're winning these low-scoring or they're losing low-scoring games. They're not. You don't really see them getting blown out.
Josh Allen dropped back 30 times last week. No, 27 times, excuse me, last week. 16 to 27, 140 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen, 10 carries, 47 yards. Devin Singletary, 8 attempts, 39 yards. James Cook, 4 attempts, 6 yards. Stephon Diggs, 3 catches, 37 yards against this Jets defense. The Bills are one of the more prolific offenses in the NFL.
And I saw a stat yesterday, and I want to read this. And this isn't me, trying to discredit anything the Jets have done. But Lions Fan Report, shout out to them on Twitter, released a stat. 5 out of the 7 wins for the Jets this season were against Jacoby Brissett, Kenny Pickett, Skylar Thompson, Trevor Siemian, and Brett Ripien. I think his name is Ripien.
Ripien, yeah.
So think about that for a second. they're going to have a big – we talk about a big test for the Lions defense. This is the offense. It's a big test for the Jets defense. This is one of the better offenses they've faced all year. So, I mean, you could say the same about both teams. I mean, the Lions offense is ready to play.
Well, those are games they won, though.
Yeah.
But I don't have to go to the games they won to look at their defense performing well. Last week, Buffalo, 20-12.
Yeah, no, they play Buffalo really well.
They lose to the Patriots 10-3. They beat the Bills the week prior, 20-17. They lose to the Patriots the week prior to that, 22-17. They beat the Broncos 16-9. They beat the Packers 27-10. They beat the Dolphins 40-17. They beat the Steelers 24-20.
I know, but yeah.
They lose to the Bengals 27-12. Okay, fine.
Got to score points.
We know the Jets can't score maybe as effectively. Not maybe, it's a fact. They can't score like this Lions offense can.
Right, especially in the red zone.
But you have not played a defense this good at any point this year. Don't tell me New England. Don't tell me Buffalo. This is the best defense you've played this year. And it's on the road, and it's outdoor. And yes, I do think it's going to be a very difficult game. And I do think the Jets defense has an advantage. That doesn't mean I don't think you don't win. I think you do win, because their offense really doesn't pose much of a threat. But to sit up here and us have a conversation as if the Lions have all the solutions for this Jets defense, I think is irresponsible.
Yeah, and they played, and I think there's a couple things. Lions faced the Eagles, and it was week 1, and that was a weird game.
Defense,
but still, on top of that, they went. The closest game you could compare this to, Adam, is probably on the road to New England. They got shut out. So, I mean, New England has a great defense, and you went on the road. I know it's Bill Belichick,
guys,
but still,
you were down
it's a big
24-7 at one point in that game. You were down 38-14.
Yeah. No, the Eagles, I think that game, you look at the
you
final score.
You were down 38-14.
The final score doesn't tell the entire story.
You scored 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. That was a 38-21 game. Again, Lions offense is remarkable. I don't think anybody disagrees in this room. I don't think all of you at home disagree.
No.
So let's throw up a poll and we'll go to break. Who has the advantage on Sunday, Alex? The Lions offense, the Jets defense. Till then, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, what the hell is going on at Michigan? Coming up at 9 o'clock, don't miss it, Tim Twentyman joining us to talk some Detroit Lions football. Dan Campbell, Aiden Hutchinson, what this turnaround has meant for everybody, not only in Allen Park, the fan base, the coaches, the players, that and so much more. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Well, guys, wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. You can try the classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo, but on top of that, you can get breakfast. The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The Lumberjack, Santa Fe Garden, or Blockbuster. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Jeff Okuda and Wicked Awesome Wishes present Hope for the Holidays. Jeff Okuda gives his financial support, time, and love for the city of Detroit with Chad Johnson and his amazing foundation, Wicked Awesome Wishes. Together, Jeff and Chad have been game planning all year long to make this Christmas one to remember for underprivileged children and their families. Special thanks to Lions players Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tracy Walker, Will Harris, and more, along with Lions alumni Lomas Brown and Joyak Bell, and the awesome people at Lighthouse Coolidge Community Building in Oak Park. Together, we'll make sure every child has new shoes, warm coats, hats, and socks, plus free haircuts to help everyone feel their best. And don't forget Woodward Sports' Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, and Darren McCarty will be there too. Hope for the holidays from Jeff Okuda and Wicked Awesome Wishes.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. So you can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, 850 woodwardsports.com. We threw up the poll in the chat. Make sure you answer it. Who has the advantage on Sunday, the Lions offense or the Jets defense? Sunday is going to be a chess match, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible. A very good offense versus a very good defense. It's going to be must-watch TV. But let's take a pause on the Lions before we get to Tim Twentyman at 9 o'clock. Eric All, the latest transfer to the Iowa University. The 5-7 university next year, the irrelevant team in the Big Ten West. The way this situation has been handled, whether it was his father, his brother, himself, Cade McNamara going public, referring to J.J. McCarthy as that other guy. What the hell happened? What did I miss throughout the whole season where Eric All and Cade McNamara, who were beloved by the fan base and were voted captains, by the way,
right,
have suddenly turned sour on their former teammates, on their former university, and have left in such a dishonest, and not only dishonest, a classless way? Whatever happened to, you know what, even if things weren't going my way at a job or, you know, let's say even a program, when I walk away, it's, you know what, I really got to thank them for all my time there. I really enjoyed myself. I'm on to the next chapter of my life. I wish them nothing but the best, and here we go. That's it. A very polite, respectful, honorable, like, goodbye. Not, yeah, you know, I can't release some of the stuff that they were talking about, you know, about me there, or, you know, the truth of the whole story isn't really out yet, but I can't say anything. Shut the fuck up. Did I miss something, Jeff? Whatever happened to you, you're going to leave somewhere, leave with some class. I think leave with some respect.
Right.
You don't walk out and, oh, that's the other guy. Oh, you suddenly now do podcasts. And then you have the tight end who was irrelevant all season, hurt, who, yes, Loveland has played at an exceptional level and offers a deep threat that Eric All never offered. You're going to be mad and say, oh, well, because they recruited or because they did this. Or what is the reason for you to walk out so classless? I don't get it. What am I missing?
I think it's a case. Listen, people want to see you do good, but never better than them. That's the quote, and I think that's what's happening with Cade and Eric Hall. Cade a year ago was happy for JJ. Now he's doing better than him. Same with Eric Hall, right? Eric Hall last year, big part of what they were able to do with Cade, and then this year now Loveland arises, and now Loveland's a fan favorite. He's doing better than Eric All. And that's kind of we call it jealousy, call it whatever you want. I think that's just human nature, right? You want people to do well, you want them to succeed, but selfishly, as human beings, you don't want them to be better than you or do better than you. And I think this is a case of that. I don't know if it's bitterness, whatever the case may be, or simply just wanting a new opportunity. But Eric All, Cade going to Iowa, I have no issue with it. I mean, the way Michigan's moving right now, their players, I mean, I think JJ, clearly, he's an upgrade over Cade. But you look at Loveland and Schoonmaker's going to the NFL draft this year, they'll be just fine. They got guys. Loveland's going to be a hell of a tight end. And
they just got a 4-star tight end, I believe, not too long ago.
So, again, they're going to be just fine. So, Eric All, Cade, whether they're bitter or not, it does not matter. Michigan is a well-oiled machine. They're going to keep moving. And those guys, hopefully, and I'm going to keep saying this, I hope they play. I really do. Hope they play in the Big Ten title game. I want Iowa to be good next year.
Well, unfortunately, Michigan aren't playing Iowa for the next 2 years.
Well, if they play in the Big Ten
title game. They're not playing in the Big Ten championship game.
We'll see. They played last year.
Wisconsin and...
I know, with the Fickle. Yeah, listen, there's more competition. Nebraska now with Matt Rule. Never know.
Iowa. Cade, guys, this is my favorite part. I'm going to stand up for this one, Alex, if you don't mind. This is my favorite thing. I got into a lot of shit with Braylon Edwards over this, right?
You did, okay.
When Cade McNamara was originally transferred, right? I came out and said, who the fuck is advising him? Makes no sense. Horrible transfer. Doesn't add up. And then Braylon gets on my ass and says, well, Adham, he's a game manager. This is the perfect situation for him. You have to consider 1, 2, and 3. He knows what he is. He knows what he isn't. He's self-aware. Then the dumb fuck goes on the podcast and says, yeah, look, I'm here at Iowa to prove I'm not a game manager. That's the point, you fuck.
You can't deny, though.
You can't go to Iowa and say, yeah, I'm here to prove I'm not a game manager, man. Look at this fucking arm I got over here.
Yeah, that.
You go to the Pac-12. You go to the Big 12.
Right.
You go to Iowa.
Right.
Where they run 40 times a game and play really good defense. You're a game manager. Now, had Cade McNamara come out and said, hey, look, you know what? I thought this was the best situation for me.
Which I agree with.
The situation really fits me. Very similar to Michigan in terms of, defense, run first, yada, yada, yada. I'm here to win football games. I would shut my mouth, eat crow, and say, it's dead wrong.
Right.
But I'm not. Fuck this guy. You guys kidding me? Braylon, you owe me an apology.
No, but, oh my God.
Braylon owes me an apology. Well, seriously. Because if you're advising anybody, not just Cade, by the way, anybody, and you're saying, hey, kid, what are your goals and aspirations? Well, hey, coach or, my agent or whoever it is, I want to prove I belong. I want to prove I can play in the NFL. Okay, kid. Let's see. What do you have in mind? I'm thinking Iowa. I'd look at the kid and say, you fucking stupid? What do you mean Iowa?
But
I'd smack him across the head and say, we're going to go out west. And you're going to go play for a Big 12 or a Pac-12 school. Why? Because you're going to throw the ball 24, 27, 30 times a game.
Is that Cade, though?
I know it's not him. That's not the point, though. You can't come out and say, I'm here to prove I'm not a game manager.
Yes, I agree with you. But if you're advising JJ, of course you're going to be like, no, Iowa, are you kidding me? But for Cade, it's like, you know what? In terms of your strength and weaknesses, Iowa, I think, fits him the best. But trust me, I get what you're saying, Adam. You're not going to suggest for a guy. That quote didn't make sense to me either. Saying, I want to prove I'm not a game manager, I don't think Iowa's the right school to do that. But I do agree with Braylon in terms of the best fit for him. And they're not going to expose his weaknesses. I agree with all of that. But
dude, that's like an alcohol, a guy with who. That's like a dude who struggles with alcohol saying, yeah, I'm going to go work at the liquor store. I'm going to go out to the club tonight, and I'm not going to drink. Okay. Shut the fuck up. Stupid ass.
What an analogy.
Let's take a break. When we get back, we are going to be... tongue twister. We are going to be joined by Tim Twentyman to talk some Detroit Lions football, what Dan Campbell has done to turn things around, what's changed, Aiden Hutchinson, and so much more. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss.
Well, with the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts of collectible or jewelries. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss Insurance has saved its clients on an average of 26%, on their insurance premiums, while still increasing coverage. That's a lot of money to free up for the giving season. Merry Christmas, from Swiss Insurance. And don't forget, go blue.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
All I want for Christmas is a Lions win, the Pistons in the playoffs, and the Red Wings to dominate. I don't ask for much.
I'm asking for a punt! A single punt!
And I've been really good this year.
Liar!
Oh, you're so naughty. You're so naughty.
Woodward Sports.
All right, downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season. With the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway, the Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab drinks before or after. You play some games, shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with our good friends over at Bedrock Detroit. We are back, top of the hour here on the Woodward Sports Network. live woodwardsports.com, and we are joined by a first-time guest who I am very, 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 very excited to have on. Tim Twentyman joins us this morning. Tim, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Tim, I do want to start with this turnaround. I think that's the obvious one. They were 1-6, the lowest ebb point of the season. There really wasn't a sign of hope outside of, man, these games were being played close. They were coming down to one possession. And somehow, some way, these last 6 weeks, Tim, they've looked like one of the better teams in really all the NFL. I could name maybe only Philly and San Francisco who have played better in the NFC alone than the Lions have over the last 6 games. What's led to the turnaround?
Well, I think there's two things. You mentioned the close games. I think a little bit they've learned how to win some of those close games. But to me, I just look defensively. I think you look at the 1-6 start, which you referenced, 11 giveaways, 7 takeaways. That's a -4. And you guys know as well as me, the most important statistic in football is turnovers. Can you generate those big plays? Can you get those possessions? Those help you win those close games. And then you flip to the record now, and I mean it's 10 10 takeaways that they've forced, and they've only given the ball away 3. So you're +7. So you went from a -4 when you were losing to a +7 when you're winning. And so when people talk about turnovers, I mean that's the statistic right there. That's the number that separates winning and losing football. And so it was a defense that was playing, I think, much worse than the talent indicated early on. You knew they were going to get better when some of those young guys, the Aidens, the Kirby Josephs, the Malcolm Rodriguez, when those guys kind of settled in a little bit. And I think we started to see that. Obviously, Jared Goff in the offense, started playing well, but a little bit better. They weren't turning the football over. But to me, it's all about the defense, and they started, playing much more consistently. They started, creating those turnovers, and to me, that's been the biggest change from 1-6 to 5-1 over the last 6.
Yeah, we're joined by Tim Twentyman, senior writer and insider for the Detroit Lions. And Tim, I just want to say thank you for joining us. Big fan of your work. And I want to ask you about Jared Goff specifically, because when the trade was first announced, you trade away Matthew Stafford, you get the assets, the draft capital, along with Jared Goff. I think the narrative in Detroit was this is your short-term option at quarterback. But the way Jared's been playing this year, he's playing like a top 10 quarterback. And now you're having the conversation of, could he be the long-term answer? What kind of flexibility does Jared Goff, the way he's playing, give the Lions moving forward? Because the conversation last year in the draft, you got to take a flyer. This year you have that Rams pick. Could they take a quarterback? What has Jared Goff done with his play now to give the Lions flexibility moving forward?
Well, I think he's certainly, obviously the quarterback of the present, but I think the way he's playing, he's showing that he's the quarterback of the future as well. I mean, let's not forget Jared Goff's only 28 years old. So it's not like we're talking about a 31, 32-year-old quarterback who maybe you're trying to find the next guy. I mean, he's going to be playing in this league 7, 8, 9 more years. Will that be in Detroit? I mean, his play is going to dictate that. But I think he's played well enough this year to be like, hey, I think we've got something in Jared Goff. I mean, let me pose this question to you guys. In the NFC, outside of Jalen Hurts, is there a better quarterback right now? Is there anybody?
There's
in the NFC
no quarterback playing at a
football?
higher level. I would agree with you right now in the NFC, maybe outside of Jalen Hurts.
I think that answers your question then, right? I mean, he's playing some of the best football in the conference. He's got this team playing meaningful football in the month of December. I just think he signed for 2 more years. I think in 2 more years, that contract is going to be very, very reasonable. I think it's reasonable now. When you look at some of these quarterbacks now going for $40, $50 million a year, $25, $26 million a year for Jared Goff over the next 2, that's almost a bargain the way he's playing. I think it gives this team a ton of flexibility. You've got 2 first-round draft picks. You've got 2 second-round draft picks. We talked about the defense being a little bit better, but obviously, they need some more studs on that ball. They could use another linebacker. They could use some corner depth. They could use another safety. So I think Jared playing the way he is gives them a ton of flexibility to really improve, that defense with some of those top picks. And now I think with the offense playing the way it is, and you improve and add some talent to that defense, boy, the prospects in 2023 look pretty darn good.
Tim, when this trade originally happened and you trade away Matthew Stafford and you get the 2 first-round picks, you get Jared Goff, and yes, the word bridge quarterback is probably used more often than it should be, but I really thought from the beginning if he could give you 50, 60, maybe even 70% of what Alex Smith gave to the Kansas City Chiefs leading up to them drafting Patrick Mahomes, that alone would be more valuable than the picks. With the way he's playing right now, I don't want to look too far ahead and say this is a team that will contend for the division next year. But my goodness, the way they're playing football, I don't think outside of Philly and the Niners right now, there is any team in the NFC that's more dangerous than the Lions. Am I wrong to say that Jared Goff could be what Alex Smith was those 2, 3, 4 years possibly leading up to them moving up in the draft and drafting Patrick Mahomes?
No, I think it's very fair. I mean, like I said again, he's 28 years old. I mean, he's still a fairly young player in this league. I mean, if you think of just, where quarterbacks stack up age-wise, how long some of these guys are playing into the league. I was with you. I thought Jared Goff had a lot to prove, during the trade, and I think he's proven it. You wanted to see markable improvement. There's obviously a lot of pressure on Jared coming into this season, and I think he's answered it. I think he's answered the bell. He's risen up, and he's taken this team to playing meaningful football in the month of December. I always thought after last year winning 3 games, I thought the floor for this team was, hey, they had to double their win total. They had to get to at least 6, and they had to be in the graphic in December, right? Playing meaningful football. And so I think, Jared Goff and this team have accomplished that. And you mentioned, I don't think we should be looking at them being favored for the division next year. I think that's exactly what they should be. I think that's the natural progression. I think you won 3 games, now you've won at least 6, and you've played meaningful football in the month of December. Now I think in year 3 with Jared Goff at the helm, I think you should be competing for a division title, and at the very least be entering the playoffs as a wild card. And if that's the trajectory, then and the expectation, then I think Jared Goff has very much done his job and very much earns the right to try to take Detroit to that level in 2023.
Yeah, and Tim, we got a big matchup this week. Lions taking on that Jets defense. 2 players I'm going to be keying in on is Sauce Gardner, Aiden Hutchinson. And you talk about the defense and their turnaround over the last 6 games. Aiden's been a big part of that. You see more consistent performances out of him getting better and better. I want your thoughts on just the Defensive Rookie of the Year race, him between Sauce, and really how well Aiden's played up until this point to really insert himself into that conversation of possibly winning the award. Could he jump Sauce?
I think it's going to be hard to jump Sauce. You look at just Sauce. I don't even think. I think when you talk about Sauce, you're not just talking about him being a Rookie of the Year candidate. He might be the best corner in football already. I mean, right. The numbers bear that out. I mean, people are completing 44% of the passes thrown his way. I think the number was they've thrown at him 59 times. They've completed 26 of those passes. He has not given up a touchdown. They have a 47 passer rating when throwing at him. I mean, he shuts down that left side. And it's a little weird with him. He doesn't travel with their best receiver. He plays almost exclusively on the left. So, teams can scheme guys away from him a little bit, but he's basically locked that left side down. Aiden obviously has been terrific. 7 sacks, the 2 interceptions, much more athletic than I think people gave him credit for. I think even the Lions thought he was in the pre-draft process. He's maybe got a chance. I think if the Lions, win their next 4 games, Aiden gets to double-digit sacks, I think that's probably the potential. You get to the playoffs, and you've got a rookie who's got a double-digit sack guy, and he's impactful in those 4 wins down the stretch. I think he's got a chance, but Sauce has just played really, really well. Obviously, it's New York, the New York market. I think there's a little bit of bias with that as well. I think it'll be hard, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Fair enough. Tim, you already alluded to it. Sauce Gardner, what he does on the left side of the ball for that Jets defense. This is the ultimate chess game I've seen all year for the Lions, and the way they're going to have to play Ben Johnson in the offense, Robert Saleh in his defense. The way I look at this is who offers more solutions to the opposing team's problems. And right now, I know Chark is playing better. Josh Reynolds is a reliable option for Jared Goff when he goes his way. But this is a game on the road where Goff tends to play at a lesser level than what we're used to seeing him at Ford Field. Who has more solutions going into this game between the Lions offense and the Jets defense? And am I wrong to say that the Jets have just a little bit more to offer? Because if you do ignore Sauce and you do avoid that left side, you're actually playing into their hands because they'll overload. They'll bring a safety down because they don't have to worry about Sauce getting beat.
Yeah, and Reed over on the other side is a pretty good corner as well. I think really one of the big keys is Quinnen Williams. Is he going to play in this game? I put him in the same category with Chris Jones and Aaron Donald in terms of interior defenders. I mean, he leads them in sacks with 11, quarterback hits 23, tackles for loss 12. I mean, you don't see those kind of numbers from interior guys all that often. Those are edge numbers, and that's how much impact he makes in the middle. Now, he left last week's game with a calf injury, hasn't practiced this week. I know Robert Saleh this week said he's 50-50. I think if he doesn't go, that's a huge loss for the Jets, and that's advantage Detroit. Obviously, we know their strength is up front anyways, and now you take away their best defensive lineman. I think if there's one weakness with this Jets defense, you just look at the numbers. I mean, 6 in points allowed, 3rd in total defense, number 4 against the pass, but they're middle of the road in terms of stopping the run. Opponents average over 4 yards per carry. I think right around 120 yards a game, and so I think that's an area that's got to be huge for Detroit this week. You talk about playing into their hands. I think playing into the Jets' hands is not being able to run the football. They've got 39 sacks outside, of Williams too. So they got a bunch of guys that can get after the quarterback. So now if you put yourself in a situation where you're throwing 40 times on the and you can't establish a consistent run game, or at least have that be part of the attack, I think that's where you really play into the Jets' hands more than just, picking matchups here and there. So, I think a really big key is will the Jets have Quinnen Williams or not? And if so or if not, can the Lions establish somewhat of a run game? They've been so good this year running the football, but if you look at over this win streak, it hasn't really been their strength. It's been Jared Goff in the passing game. In 4 of the last 6, the Lions have averaged under 4 yards per carry. And Dan Campbell talked about that this week, about that's got to be something now that we get back to doing earlier in the year when we were really running the football well. And so to me, that's really one of the big keys for Detroit this week is, can they get back to being a consistent running football team? Jared's at his best when he's play action. Now they just got the weapons on the outside. Suck those linebackers in. La Amon-Ra go, work the middle. I think that's really one of the big keys this week.
Tim, we'll leave you with this one. I want to bring up, because one of the many bright spots of this team is Ben Johnson, of course. And last year, he was kind of in the background as the pass game coordinator. Now, first-year offensive coordinator. The Lions offense, clearly the strength of this team. And with Jared Goff's success and Amon-Ra St. Brown and so on and so forth, I want your thoughts on the job he's done so far. And I know there's already talks about the possibility of him eventually becoming a head coach, because what Ben Johnson does, a young, innovative offensive coordinator, teams are going to look at that and want to interview him and want to speak to him. I want your thoughts on the possibility of him in the future becoming a head coach, because you see how great of a communicator he is, and the players love him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared, they all credit him for a ton of things. But your thoughts on the season so far for him, and maybe what his future entails of becoming a head coach.
Yeah, I think he's on his way toward being a head coach. I'm glad you used the word communicator, because that's exactly what he is. I mean, he's an overall great guy, too. One of those guys that knows everybody's name. You pass him in the hallway, doesn't matter if you're the janitor here or whoever, he knows your name. He'll stop, talk, say hello. Just a great guy. But I love what he did in terms of, you're a first-year offensive coordinator, right? You're going to be a first-time play caller. And you've obviously got some principles and some offense. He's been to a lot of different places. He's coached under a lot of great offensive minds, obviously had things that he loved. But instead of taking a quarterback and saying, hey, this is going to be my offense, this is my principles, this is what I love, we're going to do it this way. He said, no, Jared, why don't you come in and let's build this thing together. Jared, what do you like to do? What are things you don't like to do? What are your strengths? And really made Jared a huge part of, building this offense and tailoring it to what Jared does well. And I thought that was the best thing, Ben Johnson could do. And I just think that speaks to his character. It speaks to, how he can build a team, build a culture when he does become a head coach, because I think he's on that track. He's just been terrific. I mean, you look at the play call to Penei Sewell, some of the stuff that opposing coaches talk about. When Robert Saleh this week talked about creativeness, he wasn't talking about the run game with Ben Johnson. He was talking about how how creative Ben Johnson is. Excuse me, he wasn't talking about the pass game. He was talking about how creative Ben Johnson is in the run game, in some of those run concepts. And so he's really innovative. He's smart. He's a terrific communicator, obviously a good play caller. Everybody loves him on offense. I haven't talked to an offensive lineman, a receiver, a running back, anybody who doesn't credit Ben Johnson for this offense being where they are. So yeah, I think he's on the fast track, but selfishly here in Detroit, you hope maybe that's 2024, 2025, so you can see where this thing goes one more year with Ben Johnson at the helm.
Absolutely. Well, look, Tim, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Twentyman, the Detroit Lions senior writer and insider. Tim, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming on today.
All right, guys, have a good day.
You too, buddy.
Appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
we'll take a break. When we get back, let's continue the conversation. Jets, Lions going into Sunday. Tim alluded to some of the chess pieces that the Jets have to offer, especially with Quinnen Williams. His status for Sunday is going to be a big part of the game. But before we go, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today, $10 a month. What are you waiting for? Home of the judgment-free zone. Your fitness is essential. Sign up for Planet Fitness by visiting one of their many locations locally or by visiting them at planetfitness.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Jeff Okuda and Wicked Awesome Wishes present Hope for the Holidays. Jeff Okuda gives his financial support, time, and love for the city of Detroit with Chad Johnson and his amazing foundation, Wicked Awesome Wishes. Together, Jeff and Chad have been game planning all year long to make this Christmas one to remember for underprivileged children and their families. Special thanks to Lions players Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tracy Walker, Will Harris, and more, along with Lions alumni Lomas Brown and Joyak Bell, and the awesome people at Lighthouse Coolidge Community Building in Oak Park. Together, we'll make sure every child has new shoes, warm coats, hats, and socks, plus free haircuts to help everyone feel their best. And don't forget Woodward Sports' Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, and Darren McCarty will be there too. Hope for the holidays from Jeff Okuda and Wicked Awesome Wishes.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. That was an awesome interview. Tim was excellent. Excellent. One of my favorite guests we've had on in a while. We'll finish up this poll. We had it up a little earlier. We haven't revisited. Who has the advantage on Sunday, the Lions offense or the Jets defense? To no surprise, 73% of you said the Lions offense. So we'll close that, and we'll move on to the next conversation, which is Jets and the Lions. We've talked about the chess pieces, the X Factor players.
Right.
Tim alluded to this a little bit. How are the Lions going to be able to go back to what was so successful for them early on in the year, given the weather conditions? Given that, yes, you want to continue to show off your beautiful offense that is just so effective and efficient and scoring, but at the end of the day, it is built off the run game. And these past few weeks, the run game has been inconsistent. Who leads the charge if you're going to have success on Sunday, number one? And number two, how important is it that DeAndre Swift finds 50, 60, 70% of his early season form?
I mean, I've talked about this before, too. If DeAndre Swift returns to that form, this offense becomes that much more dangerous. Because as much as I love Jamal, I mean, he runs hard. He's good between the tackles. He's good in the red zone. DeAndre Swift is that X factor. I mean, with his explosiveness, his home run ability, and what he can do in the passing game. If you have success with DeAndre and he can get to that next level, the level we saw early in the season, this offense takes it up a notch. And so I would say DeAndre, if DeAndre can find some success this week, and not only just on the ground, but in the passing game. I mean, you talk about Sauce and what they can do in the secondary. The Jets defense are good on all three levels. I mean, their defensive line, their linebackers, their secondary. But Swift might be the odd man out. I mean, Swift's the guy, especially how much Jared loves to spread the ball around. I mean, he'll throw it to Justin Jackson. He'll throw it to DeAndre Swift. And we saw DeAndre only 2 weeks ago get involved in the passing game as well and find some success. I think DeAndre would be a big part of this. Now, will we get it or not? That's my question, because DeAndre is inconsistent. We've seen that at times where he looks really good. Other games, he just doesn't have the effect you'd expect him to have. So I would say for this run game to be successful, yes, Jamal's the guy you put all the carries on. He can handle your 10 to 15, high, almost 20 carries. He's your bell cow. But DeAndre Swift, to me, Adam, is that X factor. Depending on what he looks like, I think if he can have a great game, I know it's a Jets defense that's top 13 against the run. With this offensive line, if they can control the line of scrimmage and you can get DeAndre Swift out in space, that's going to be another level to this offense that it's going to be tough to handle for any defense.
I love it. 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 Here's what we're going to do. As much as you're right, I do believe the Quinnen Williams factor is everything.
Oh, absolutely. He's a disruptor.
He's out or limited. It bodes very well for you. And remember, he left that Bills game early. He had 2 sacks. He hasn't played a game without a quarterback hit since week 1. He is their difference maker. You can rely on him to hit your quarterback every single game. For a sack or not, doesn't matter. 11 sacks this year. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side of the ball. The Jets offense. When Breece Hall went down, their identity was essentially lost. That's it. It was over. Xavier Knight, Michael Carter, meh. To an extent, you can live with it, but
trading for James Robinson, yeah,
it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, and their offensive line has had injuries. It's not as good as advertised.
So you know that you're not so much worried about what the Jets will do offensively to your defense. The conversation now becomes, can you establish the run enough early to where you can take advantage of the Jets defense, where you can attack them over the middle, where if they do stack the box, you can take advantage on one-on-one matchups. Jared Goff has thrown 1 interception in his last 6 games. 1. Not bad if you ask me. Or I believe his last 7, actually.
Mm-hmm. And there's no fumbles. That's 1 turnover, not just
one
interception.
1 turnover in 7 games.
Yep.
He is playing at the best level he's been playing since probably 2018, when he put up MVP-type numbers. The Rams, I believe, were 13-3 that season. It's impressive stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying it.
And like Tim said, too, the fact that Ben allows Jared to put his input in this offense and kind of mix things in that Jared can do very well, I think that's going to be good because I trust Ben to game plan for this defense. I mean, they're watching tons of film, and same with the Jets defense. They're going to watch a ton of film on this Lions offense, what they like to do. But for Ben Johnson, it's how he sets things up. I think that's the most impressive thing, and you've heard players and coaches talk about that too, his ability to set things up. And if you don't have Quinnen Williams, if the Jets are missing him, I'm telling you right now, Ben's going to exploit that. And I think Dan already mentioned it. They want to run the ball more efficiently. It's not about dominating on the ground, but they got to be situationally better at running the football. He's a huge factor. If Quinnen Williams is not there, this offensive line is not only going to have more success, but DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Justin Jackson, they're going to be able to run more efficiently. So he's the X factor. We'll see if he's available. I assume in a game like this, with how much is on the line, I believe it's a calf injury. I think he'll play, but if he doesn't, Adam, this Lions offense has to take advantage of that on the ground, like they've been doing.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick pause. When we get back, if the Detroit Lions were to win the NFC North, this is the question we're posing this morning. If the Lions were to win the NFC North in 2023, it would be because of what? That's the question. That's the conversation we'll have in just a bit. But before we go, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Visit them at cousinsmainelobster.com today. Find out where their food truck is and try their delicious Maine roll. You could try their lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, you name it, they've got it. Lobster is one of my favorite seafood delights. Absolutely delicious. Again, cousinsmainelobster.com. Check them out, find their food truck, and have yourself a good lunch today.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our Lumberjack, Blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
All right, the official meat supplier of the Woodward Sports Network. Sandwiches to die for, Wagyu meats, artisan breads, all inspired by the legendary Chef Day. The Butchery meats, eats, and treats. Shop online at thebutcherysl.com or give them a call, 248-682-COWS. That's 248-682-COWS. And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. We have our good friend Justin in the chat this morning. Justin Bauman. Just so Adam and the other can shut the fuck up about the weather, the Lions put up 31 on the Giants at the same damn stadium, and the weather that day was 30 degrees. Yep. Jared Goff, 17 to 26, 165 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
And that Giants defense is
and
not
that was
comparable.
a game that Daniel Jones, multiple turnovers. That was a game where the Giants defense is not comparable.
And they had injuries that game. I'm pretty sure Leonard Williams didn't play. They didn't have their secondary. I mean, they had McKinney
Regardless
out,
of injuries,
Adoree Jackson was out.
That Giants defense is nowhere near what the Jets defense is.
That's the point.
The Lions ran for about 140 yards, maybe. They threw for 165. Aleem McNeil, John Kaminsky with a sack. 2 interceptions, one from Aiden Hutchinson, the other from Kirby Joseph.
They could do that again.
That's that you can point to.
Yeah, that.
But to act like the offense was clicking against the Giants is a complete lie. But they put up 31, so what can I say? If the Detroit Lions were to win the NFC North in 2023, this is a question for all of you. Answer in the chat, Jeff and I will respond. Jeff, I'll start with you. If the Detroit Lions were to win the NFC North in 2023, it would be because of blank.
Jared Goff.
Really?
Yeah, most important position in football. the way he's been playing has been a big reason why. Yeah, defensively is important as well. If you want to make an argument, that's fine. But for me, it's Jared Goff. If he can be turnover-free and be as efficient as he's been and make the throws he's been making, if he can do that next year with a better defense, there's no question he's going to be a big reason why they win the NFC North. So we talk about the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins. Yeah, Kirk, he's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. But at the same time, with that offense, even though the defense is still bad, the offense has been clicking. And Kirk, at times, he had that terrible game against Philly, but for the most part, he's played all right. And besides that loss to Dallas, by the way, which was completely disgusting. But that's Jared Goff to me. If he could play well next year and keep up this play, and he says, I'm playing the best football of my career, if he could follow it up next year and play just as well, I know he's going to have turnovers along the way, but for the most part, for the betterment of the season, he could play like this, he's going to be a big reason why they win the division, Adam. No question.
All right, my answer is going to be simple, and then we'll go to all the people. The Lions will win the NFC North in 2023 because of Dan Campbell.
Well, yeah.
No.
I think that's
it. That is the only reason. It'll be because of Dan Campbell. Because if Dan Campbell is the coach you want him to be, or the coach you think he can be, they're going to win that division. If Dan Campbell is a top 12 coach in the NFL, they win that division. And I do think it really does rest on his shoulders. Because he does have the support with Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, which isn't a bad thing. He does have a very, very good offense. Not a bad thing. He will have an improved defense going into next season. Not a bad thing. This is going to be a very good football team next year.
Yep.
Very good. Very difficult to play against. And as long as they don't start 1-6 again, as long as he's not shooting them in the foot week in and week out, they're going to be able to win that division easily. I wouldn't say easily, but contend for the division easily. That will be a given next year. I think they win the division next year. It's because Dan Campbell is what you want him to be, which is one of the better coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And when is the last time you've had that? Oh, wait, never. You've never had one of the better coaches in the NFL. And if Dan Campbell can be that, or like Sean Payton said, can he be the offensive version of Mike Vrabel? If he can be somewhat, or maybe he is, if he can be the offensive version of Mike Vrabel, you're going to win that division next year. There are no doubts. So that's why I say Dan Campbell.
I think you could make an argument, too, even for Brett Holmes. I mean, if you can nail this draft coming up, you have free agency, and the players you've drafted have gotten better and have continued to improve, it starts with Brad, it starts with Dan. That's the clear answer. I think from a player perspective, though, you want to bring up AG, I think would be a good answer. If this defense can play as well as they've played, and you can put players in positions to succeed, no question what this offense is going to do. If Ben Johnson returns, assuming he will, Jared Goff plays like he's been playing, and then you have the weapons on offense with that offensive line. There's no question defensively, if they can keep up a top 15 defense, be middle of the pack with this offense, that's going to be a big reason why they win the division, along with Dan. I think Dan's the obvious one. He's a big reason why. But on top of that, if Brad continues to add talent, I mean, there's no question. This defense just needs a couple more guys, especially in that secondary, at corner, maybe another linebacker. Besides that, I think they're ready, Adam. They just need a couple pieces. We'll see what he does at free agency, but I think Brad, Dan, they all have a piece in it.
I like this. Let's go to the people here. If the Lions are to win the NFC North in 2023, it will be because Don Burr says the Lions' O-line will dominate this game. Watch, they hear all the talk. Let's move on. DC wins the division, and he will be our coach for the next 6 years and hopefully longer. But why do they win? That's what I want to know from all of you. Jacob has the best answer I've seen. Jacob Mayich says the Detroit Lions will win the NFC North in 2023 because Penei Sewell has 50 catches for 500 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Dan did say if you lost some weight, man, he can play tight end.
I like that answer. It's a great answer. It's a great answer. Jacob also with another good answer because they bring in a first-round pick as a corner and a veteran corner to improve the secondary. I agree. Yeah. A lot of it's going to rely on the offseason. You're going to have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick. You're going to have free agency. This team is going to be better going into next year. And I can't predict health, so don't bother saying anything about health or injuries or anything like that, okay? But what I can tell you is, just like we had the conversation going into the year that they could win 7, 8, 9 games because they would be a pain in the ass to play against, their offense would be unpredictable, is the same reason why next year the conversation going into the season will be, I will tell you from now, this is one of the most complete teams you have seen in Detroit in a very long time. The head coach has improved. He's got very good He's got a very good offensive coordinator. He's got a good to very good defensive coordinator, depending on how he improves with the defense.
Right.
Watch out for the Lions next year to win the division. That will be the conversation. This is not hyperbole. This isn't wishful thinking. The Lions are better than the Packers right now. The Lions are better than the Bears. And they go toe-to-toe with the Vikings. You've seen it in person twice now. So what more evidence do you need outside of they have the draft capital coming up? They'll have they'll have money in free agency. What more do you want to see? What more is it that you need that'll encourage you to even think this way? They will have Justin Bauman says they will have Tracy Walker back and hopefully upgrade the middle of that D at linebacker and a number one corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part, man. And Justin, you're right. You'll get Tracy Walker back next year. You have to go get depth at corner. You need a veteran corner, and you probably draft a corner with that first-round pick. Not the Rams pick, but the Lions pick.
Right.
That's likely going to happen. We'll see how free agency plays out. Pick number 4. We talked about it yesterday. Todd McShay had them taking C.J. Stroud. I don't love it. But if you were going to take a quarterback, if not, then win. Right? And I'm not advocating for a quarterback. I think Jared Goff is playing excellent at the moment. But what I'm telling you is, I don't think this is a, drafting an Eric Ebron. This is a drafting 3 receivers in the first round, first overall, 3 consecutive years. That's not where I'm going with this. I don't think drafting a quarterback, whether it's Stroud, Levis, or Bryce Young. Now, whether you like them or not as a prospect, that's a different conversation. But the idea of taking a quarterback in the top 5, I don't hate. But would we all prefer Jalen Carter or Myles Murphy or Will Anderson? Of course you would. And it really depends where you're going to be picking this year. You would love to bolster up that defense, 100%. And Jared Goff is playing at a level where I don't have to worry about the quarterback. But I don't point and say, you're crazy, or you're wrong, or you're stupid for saying, oh yeah, they're going to take a quarterback with that first pick and then a cornerback or a linebacker maybe with the second. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's crazy. I wouldn't do it. But I'm not going to sit here and act like that's Malik Willis last year or Kyle Hamilton last year. No, I think it's a bit more. I think you could make the case for it more because you would sit him likely. But regardless, let's take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll wrap up with some Lions. We'll get to Mailbag at 9:50, and then we'll call it a show from there. We got about, 23 minutes left. Before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, this is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you could pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. They also have the $2 mystery beer machine, the full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. As always, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you check out woodwardsports.com for all the latest news articles around your favorite teams. Eric Minion with an interesting answer to our previous conversation. The Lions will win the 2023 NFC North if they have a top 15 defense, Campbell doesn't make mistakes, and Jared Goff keeps playing like he is right now. That is the best case scenario.
Imagine if they had the defense right now, early in the year. Like these guys with the experience
they would have been 4-2 to start.
There you go.
Probably 4-3 realistically in the first 7.
So that answers the question.
And you're talking about a 9. You're talking about a 9-5. 9-5? No, 9-4 team.
And that's
potentially 8-5.
And Adam, that's year 2 with a very still incomplete team. And they would have had more wins.
Just defensively. I mean, we talked about this going into the offseason. You guys remember Hard Knocks? I know Hard Knocks is meant for entertainment, but there was like one really like obvious thing that was going on that nobody could deny. Not in practice, not in joint practice. And that was this offense. And the way Jared Goff was ripping the ball. And St. Brown, for some reason, every time he showed up on the highlight reel, he had 3, 4, 5 yards of separation and was scoring. It was ridiculous. All those routes you saw him run in practice, you saw him score a few games ago against Minnesota. That little out route to the back of the end zone, not back of the end zone, excuse me, to the pylon. Fair game. You saw it all through Hard Knocks. You knew this offense going into the year would click. It was whether or not the defense could improve and the coach would improve. To start the year, the defense sucked, the coach sucked. But for the last 6 games, the defense has been much better than people have imagined, and the coach has been damn near perfect over the last 6 games. And that's got to count for something, man. It really does. If we bring back Elliott, says Funky, Walker plays strong safety, Joseph plays free, and Elliott plays in the box. We like to run 3 safeties. Has it already? Maybe I'm reading that wrong?
No, it was just talking about Tracy coming back next year. Where does he fit? It's a good problem to have. I mean, you have 3 good safeties. They'll find a way to make it work.
It's the cornerback position this year.
That's the real issue.
The cornerback position in the offseason and linebacker. That's what you need to address.
Yeah.
And if you can find a guy like, your version, whether it's Aleem or somebody you draft, like a Carter or a Miles Murphy, who ends up being a Quinnen Williams, that would be nice. That would be a great addition. And that's why you take those guys. So, look, I have a very simple philosophy for drafting in the top 5. Okay? And there are very, very, very rare exceptions to this rule. But they're very rare and they happen once every 15, 20 years. Okay? In today's NFL, this is what you take with the top 5 pick. Under any circumstance. Wide receiver, quarterback, left tackle, edge rusher, interior lineman. Those are the main 5.
And then you got corner right behind those.
Now, you can consider a corner. You can consider, I can't believe I'm saying a linebacker, but again, it would take a very special player. And we haven't really seen one come out where it was worthy of a top 5 pick.
Like maybe last one was Devin White, I want to say.
Maybe, but even then, was it really, truly that worth it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you want to draft the interior lineman, the pass rusher, the quarterback, the receiver, the offensive lineman. That's what you take in the first 5 picks.
Right.
And the only exception to the rule, which does happen every 10, 15 years, is a corner does come along. That may be worth it. There is at times, you have seen it before, a hybrid player who can play in the box, who can play safety. They do a lot of things, those hybrid-type college players. Maybe. I wouldn't do it, but there are exceptions in moments with certain players. A Sauce Gardner would be an exception to that rule right now, given how he's playing. Fair?
Fair.
But that is it. There is no overthinking when you're picking in the top 5. You either need a quarterback, you draft an offensive lineman for the future, you draft a defensive lineman for the future, you get a wide receiver to the future, and that is it. That is it. That's what you draft. There are no, well, maybe we should take the safety, or maybe we should take this linebacker, or, maybe we should take this corner who's a top 15 pick really, but we're going to reach for him. There is none of that. It's very simple in the top 5. You're picking there for a reason, more often than not.
Right. Even Micah Parsons didn't go in the top 5, so.
And don't you think
now looking back,
Atlanta? You don't think Atlanta right now are thinking, yeah, you know what? It'd be nice to have a Micah Parsons. You don't think the Jets would love him? You don't think the Niners would love a Micah Parsons with Nick Bosa? Or the Jamar Chase
Fred
to that
Warner?
offense?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
But then, again, the philosophy, though, is there. They did take a quarterback, which I don't mind. Now, if taking a quarterback was so easy, everybody would have one. So it's not a science that is calculated. It's very difficult to draft a quarterback. And I find it very interesting. I do. Adam, who was the better pick, Zach or Slater? Who's Zach? Zach Wilson? Or Rashawn Slater? Is that the question, Mike? Can you clarify? What are the top 4 positions on a football team? I think we just went through this. Wide receiver, quarterback, offensive tackle, defensive lineman.
Yep.
Those are the 4 most important positions. That's it. There's no other positions that are more important. Now, are there other very important positions that you need to complete a team? Of course. You need a good run game. You want a good tight end. You want a good linebacker. You want a good corner. But you don't spend a top 5 pick on that. You just don't.
Unless it's Sauce.
Again, the exceptions.
Yeah.
And they come around very rarely.
Right.
Go over the last 10 drafts. Which corner that was picked in the top 5 was worth it? Right now, it's looking only like Sauce and Jalen Ramsey.
When was Denzel Ward drafted?
But is he worth it?
He's a pretty damn good corner.
Very damn good corner. But
right.
Again, you want to make the exceptions. Would Cleveland prefer a quarterback right now? Granted, they traded for Deshaun Watson, but I want you to think that way. Like, wouldn't they prefer to have drafted a wide receiver than traded assets for Amari Cooper? So it's fair conversation. I don't mind you including Denzel Ward in there. I don't. That's exactly why if C.J. Stroud is there, Brad Holmes is picking him. DJ, you know what? Again, I'm not an Allen Park. I don't know who they love. They may love Levis. They may love Young. They may love C.J. Stroud, whoever it is. That's why when Todd McShay or any of these guys want to throw out a mock draft and it has the Lions taking 4, I don't think you should be offended by it. That makes sense to me. I don't hate it. Now, do I love them as a quarterback right now? I don't. I would prefer a Miles Murphy or Will Anderson. Of course I would. But if you're going to tell me, hey, Lions are drafting a quarterback, if there was ever a situation to do it, 2 first-round picks, you've got a top 4 pick right now, you take whoever it is. I don't care who you take. It makes sense. Best offensive line, one of the better ones in the league. Very good wide receiver sets. An offensive coordinator who's very young, innovative, plays to the strengths of his quarterback. You can sit him a year, go win your division next year with Jared Goff, and then figure out what you want to do. I don't think it's ludicrous. I don't.
And I love this comment, WoodwardSports.com by Eric Wall. Stroud had 3 to 4 first-round wide receivers to throw to against a historically bad Big Ten. I think that's the evaluation process, too. You got to trust Brad in these situations. I mean, looking at it, the only way I'd understand it, it's not about C.J. Stroud. It's looking at who's available, right? If Carter, Anderson, and Bryce Young are all off the board, and you're really weighing your options at 4, and Brad feels like CJ's worth the pick, knowing what you're going to do in the future. You're going to be picking, hopefully, in the 20s. You're not going to have that same opportunity to draft a quarterback. And with CJ, I think people here locally know CJ much more better because we get to see Michigan, Ohio State. You get to watch him up close. But Todd McShay has no bias. Like he's looking at it, looking at the Lions, looking at what they need. Clearly, right now, I would disagree. I don't think it's quarterback. But still, do I hate it? No. Do I love it? No. I mean, I'm a Bryce Young guy, but you're not going to be able to get Bryce Young. So, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and react to it. We got to wait till the draft. But at the end of the day, I trust Brad Holmes. So, if that's the route he wants to go.
That's the thing. I think Holmes has earned the right.
Yeah.
To whoever he drafts, you can question. That's fine. But I do believe there's a lot of trust going in with Brad Holmes for this draft and future drafts.
Right.
But,
And if I'm being completely honest with you, C.J. Stroud, as much as, you could criticize him and pick things apart. Looking at the field, Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, I would prefer CJ over any of those guys. So that's my opinion. I'm not a big Will Levis guy. I don't like Anthony Richardson. So
fair enough.
We'll see what he does. I hope he takes a defensive player, though. I really do.
All right. Well, let's take a break. When we get back, it's mailbag time. Start getting your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will answer them. But I got to tell you what will be popping off on Tuesday of next week with Wicked Awesome Wishes, Chad Johnson and Jeff Okuda. Jeff Okuda of the Detroit Lions, of course, will be giving his financial support, time, and love for the city of Detroit by teaming up with Chad Johnson, founder of Lady Jane's and Woodward Sports, and his amazing foundation, Wicked Awesome Wishes, this holiday season to give out new shoes, new clothing, warm coats, hats, socks, haircuts to make everybody feel and look better, along with warm meals and holiday cheer for everybody less fortunate than us. So I can't wait for this event. It's going to be excellent. Myself, Jeff, Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, everybody is going to be there. Full support. It's going to be an awesome event. I can't wait. It's always good to give back. So shout out to Jeff Okuda for being an awesome guy, not only on, but off the field. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael the number one option for anybody. Me and my wife decided to go with him when we refinanced and originally purchased our home, so here we are. What are you waiting for? 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. We are back. Mailbag time here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. Make sure you drop a like as always on the videos. Make sure you check out woodwardsports.com for all the latest articles and news around your favorite teams here in Detroit.
First question, DNC. Mailbag, how irrational are Easy and Spence on golf? I love the war that the heavyweights have now with fans on golf. And listen, it's their opinion.
I haven't kept up, so you tell me what their opinion is.
It's fair. I mean, they criticized they were hard on golf. They never wanted
earlier
golf.
In the year?
Yeah,
when they were the top three.
Well, even
in the
before
NFL?
then, I don't think they never wanted golf here to begin with, and now they acknowledge he's playing well. I'm a little different. I mean, we've had a mutual opinion on this. Like, we accept golf's here until he's
for the
not.
foreseeable future, and there's nothing wrong with that. It gives you time to build your team.
And we've said he's good enough to win divisions.
And when the time is right to pull the trigger, you pull it. It's not difficult.
And Spence actually had a fair point. I heard him on Big D Energy talking about how the narrative on Jared Goff will change once he wins a Super Bowl, because that's Spence's whole point, is he doesn't believe Jared's a guy that can get you over the top. And again, all that, there's still plenty of football left in his career, so I don't think that story's written yet, but I don't think they're crazy. I just think, hey, it's their opinion. I'm a little different on Goff, but it's okay. It's why we love this network. Everyone has different opinions.
All right.
Well, I want to read this question, too, from Mike, which I loved. Mail sack. Folks at WSN don't like Will Levis, apparently. Do you guys like him? No, I don't. I'm going to be honest. I've watched a couple Kentucky games. I don't see it. I don't know what everybody else sees, and I know there's always a prospect every year. He's got the size, the arm strength. He's got the, he's a type of guy to, hard worker, grit, blue collar. And I'm watching Will Levis, and I'm looking at the box scores, and I'm like, is this another Zach Wilson? Like, is this a guy that's everyone's going to hype up and just does not work out?
Zach Wilson was even worse, to be honest with you, because he wasn't even on the radar. At least you knew about Levis going into the year. Levis is 6'3", 210, 215. He has got immense arm strength. Josh Allen is a comparison I've read before.
Of course he is. Of course
This is what happens. It happens every draft. It's okay. I get the Will Levis infatuation. If you expect him to come into the NFL day one and sling the ball, he's going to fail. Will Levis can have success, but he has to go to the right team, who are going to watch him progress like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts did, who are going to be patient with all of his mistakes. Again, I don't see it. I don't. I don't see it at pick number 4, but again, I can understand it at least. You want to take your chance on your quarterback you believe you can mold? People didn't believe in Patrick Mahomes. They didn't even believe in Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but you saw Patrick
They didn't believe
elevate.
in Justin Herbert.
You saw Patrick elevate everybody else around. I mean, what do you have? The shootout with Baker Mayfield threw for like 600 yards. I mean, you've seen the moments. I haven't seen the moments with Will Levis.
His issue, playing in the hardest conference.
Yes, he's in the SEC.
He's got no offensive weapons.
I don't know.
I get it. No, I get it.
I'm not gonna.
Again, I don't have to love him.
Right.
But I can at least understand it and play ball here. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's egregious. I don't like it. But the truth is, he's got the intangibles. This, again, Jeff, getting a quarterback is the hardest thing to do, man.
I know.
There is no science to it. Bryce Young could be a complete flop, and Will Levis might be the next motherfucking franchise quarterback. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't.
And
that's why I'm not going to write him off, but hey, he likes mayo in his coffee, so we're done here. All right.
Oh, God. What do we do with Levi Onwuzurike in the offseason, Jeff?
He's done, man. I mean, I don't see him. The thing about Levi, it's not even what do you do in the offseason. What does he do in the offseason for his career? I mean, to have an injury like that, it's potentially career-ending. I don't know the circumstances of it. I know he was hurt all year. You hope he stays around, but I don't see a future, especially with the conversation starting of a Jalen Carter, or you're taking another defensive tackle or signing a defensive tackle. I think the Levi Onwuzurike experiment is pretty much over at this point, but you never know. We'll see. I like this question. I missed it, though. Adam and Jeff, what do you think about trading Decker for picks? No, Decker, moving Sewell to left tackle, picking a right tackle in the draft. Don't know what team has the best tackle as their right tackle. I get that, Anthony. I really do. I think Sewell has all the potential in the world. I mean, I have faith. I'm on me a new rule. I believe he can be a Hall of Famer. Give him a gold jacket, save money on it, inflation and all that. But at the same time, Decker's been great. Like, I don't see a reason to move Decker. I mean, I personally love Decker. He's been here. He's the longest tenured Detroit Lions player by like a couple of years. And I'm a little different on that opinion, but I can understand if you want to pitch the idea of trading Decker, go ahead. But I'm on the other side of that.
Do you extend Chark and Williams this offseason?
Do you extend Chark and Williams this offseason? I think Jamal has a better chance to get extended than DJ Chark. I would say that.
I like what Chark is bringing to the offense when he's healthy. I do. I think it's a different dynamic. It gives Amon-Ra space he needs, and now with Jameson Williams coming back into the fold, I don't mind it. I think the question you need to ask yourself is, Josh Reynolds part of the team in the future as well as Chark? And I kind of don't mind it.
Yeah.
And Jamal, he's a goal line back. What is he?
But he's a good number 2, I think. If you had him, he's as a number 1.
You're going to want to draft your Brian Robinson in the 3rd or 4th round. You're going to want to draft, your Breece Hall. It's just a reality. Unless Swift does a complete 180 and has suddenly made a steal, which he hasn't proven, you're going to have to draft a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can extend Williams for a small, a mutually friendly deal, sure, but To do what? Run it in at the goal line? Okay. But he's not your bell cow back where you're giving him 14, 17, 20 carries a game. Tricky situation.
Eric Allen asked Mailbag, do you think with the Lions finally not coaching the Senior Bowl that they may miss out on seeing certain players up close without having... No, because they've drafted players that weren't at the Senior Bowl, and they did pretty good. So...
Oh, God.
Of course, the Senior Bowl is an advantage, but no, I wouldn't think that.
We are out of here. Thank you to everybody who joined us this morning. For Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, thank you so much, Jeff. As always, Alex, Fish, thank you guys as always. Thank you to everybody who watched. Make sure you like the video before you go. Make sure you're subscribed, of course. Make sure you're following Woodward Sports on any relevant social media channels you're on. And, of course, make sure you check out woodwardsports.com. Again, all the latest breaking news, articles on your favorite teams. Check it out. We're out of here. Big D Energy at 11. Until tomorrow, Friday, big day, Jets-Lions preview. We got some fun interviews coming up tomorrow as well. Jay from Let's Talk Lions. We got some other surprise guests, so I can't wait. Today, Tim did an excellent job, so that was fun. Thank you to everybody again. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.